Welcome to Milestones. Here we talk with creative, smart, interesting people about the projects and businesses they're working on. Meet Kai. She's a lawyer turned fashion illustrator working with luxury fashion brands to make their events more personalized and creative.
I'm a fashion illustrator and event artist. My business, called Soy Street, focuses on creating live illustrations for luxury brand events. I was just often reminded, I have a very good friend, mentor, often reminded, don't forget, these brands are like billion dollar.
This is a massive career change in a very different industry.
I think with anything, if you're leaving a industry that you're quite comfortable in, I decided to jump out and see what was out there.
So how does she go from 9-to-5 lawyer to full-time, six-figure, successful fashion illustrator? I was lucky enough to chat with Kai and hear the full story, her advice, her learnings, her experiences, and the exact steps she took to get to where she is today. And this whole journey started with a creative outlet while practicing law.
I always liked drawing and the creative area. So prior to this, I did really enjoy fashion photography as well. So, having a bit of that fashion background, that bit of interest, I think that kind of really kept me going when I was like doing law, practicing law. But it all came about when I started drawing fashion shows as well as, there's big events, global events like the Met Gala. And I think I just found people really enjoyed looking at my work and things just started rolling on from there. And it's how that really began.
This is a really interesting mixing of worlds, the illustration and the luxury fashion live events. How did you come across this niche?
Well, my background in fashion illustration combined with my work customizing these live event assets really made me realize that there was an untapped opportunity in connecting art with the live brand experiences. So brands are always looking for unique ways to engage their guests. So, these are high spenders in my particular industry, and these live illustrations become that personalized connection. So, I yeah, so I'll incorporate various aspects of their brand or some new products in their collection launch and personalize that in a way that the guests themselves can, take something home, but it's relevant, but also very personal for the brand. But I might also say that, that beginning in fashion illustration, it's it actually came I actually came from a background of environmental and human rights law. But I found my calling in this creative world, creative arts world by chance. So it's been a journey.
This is a massive career change in a wildly different industry. What sort of preparation and research did you do to get ready for all of this?
I definitely did research. So, I mean, I think with anything, if you're leaving a industry that you're quite comfortable in, and just, for me, like I was in law, it was comfortable. Um, I decided to jump out and see what was out there. But before I did, yes, I researched what was currently being done in the event space. I found things such as, photo booths, live performances, but I realized live illustration and customization was still quite a niche. So I began, guess, another form of research. I began attending industry events to observe. I spoke with brand managers, marketing execs. At the time, I had already had some connections with PR representatives. Those people, work directly with these brands on various events throughout the year. So, yeah, the purpose of that is, to see what they are looking for in terms of guest engagement.
So you've done all the research, done all the preparation. What did the first event look like for you? I'd imagine it's kind of hard to do a test run for this type of business.
To be honest, I actually jumped in the deep end in the beginning. Um, with my first client being Miu Miu, which is part of the Prada family. Um, the first event, that one was particularly lucky for me. It was, I'm not going to say small or large. I think it's kind of a medium-sized event, but it was in store and it was live and quite daunting, to be honest, the first time. But, it gave me that chance to test logistics, like setup, timing, guest interaction. I guess I started with a few brands with a similar setup to what I just described, and then expanded to larger activations. So activations being events, including workshops, as I refine my process. So I guess feedback from both the brands as well as guests was really key for me in adjusting my approach. And workshops are unique in that there is a lot more speaking and performing involved. I really like. I think more and more I am enjoying being like on stage, or it's not really a stage, but I enjoy being in front of people and um, you know, providing that guest interaction. So I think guest interaction and support is really key to a successful workshop.
I then asked Kai how she goes about making sure she's improving between events and how she approaches client feedback.
In the beginning, I think I wasn't as confident to ask for the feedback, but I definitely realized pretty soon that it was, so valuable to get that. So I often my point of contact is the brand manager or the marketing team behind the brand, and I would email them directly. Um, I give a couple of days after the event to give that a bit of time. But yeah, I think it is nice as a bit of a follow up after an event to send, a really short list of questions, but yeah, and then let them expand on that. Yeah, if they have time. But yeah, I have made it a point to ask for feedback after each event. So yeah, I use that to tweak my process. For example, you know, offering, like offering sample mock-ups, more sample mock-ups, refining display materials, maybe considering different paper options or printing methods, experimenting with different materials, as well as refining my time for each illustration itself. So there's a lot of in those early days, there was a lot of area of improvement um, that I learnt.
Being an illustrator, visual platforms and social media play a big part in Kai's marketing. So I asked her how she got started initially growing her online audience.
I got to say, I think, and I have read things about this, but I think Instagram, at least Instagram, was a different landscape before. Now, I mean, I hear that it's much harder to grow. I am finding it a bit harder to grow these days, but it. I mean, I actually get more inquiries these days. But in those early days when I did start setting up a page and start showcasing work, I focused on showcasing content from events and client collaborations, and consistently posting and engaging directly with those followers really helped build that community. Um, that I think this particular community appreciates the blend of art and fashion. Yeah, so collaborations and tag-ins from brands I worked with also really helped me grow that audience. Um, for example, when you, I mean, sorry, if I rewind a little bit more, um, if, for example, you're starting out in the industry and you have, no clients, what I did in those early days was to just imagine that that client was yours and just draw things from their collection. Just draw things that you think that they would want to see. Um, yeah, even now, when I do have a spare moment, I will strategically choose um, things that I think will perform well. So, for example, um, if there's, okay, currently there's New York Fashion Week just finished, so I'm drawing, New York Fashion Week shows as they come out. So just trying to like ride that wave with um the world. Essentially, the world is watching, and they're searching for, who knows, like Rihanna in Dior, for example. And if you can get eyeballs on your page from just making content, yeah, that is a slightly bit more specific, slightly bit more targeted, I think that's really worth your while. Yeah. Uh, yes, I guess nowadays I'm also trying a bit more to produce behind the scenes style content and content that shows Soy Street as a leader in the industry. So, for example, content that is suitable for the younger generation to show them that it can be done. And yeah, so
Tell me a bit about your approach to monetization. Did you start charging from day one?
in terms of events, yes, I started charging for events from the beginning. Um, Looking back at that time, I would say my rates were modest. At Yeah, at that time, as I gained more experience and absorbed more feedback, I have increased my rates to reflect the value of the personalized experience I offered. So yeah, and just I suppose I know it's hard to decide on how to price in the beginning for any young creative. Um, yeah, but for me, I was just often reminded. I have a very good friend mentor. Often reminded. He said to me, like, "Don't forget, these brands are like like billion-dollar brands." So it's you know just keeping that in mind. I think that really helped me along there.
Between illustration styles and how fast the fashion world moves, what sort of steps do you take and work do you do to make sure you're keeping up with trends and styles as they change?
It's definitely something that I put time towards. I think it's very important to, you want to stay relevant and you want people to think that I mean, hopefully you are, but you're fresh and up to date with what's going on in the world. So I stay up to date following fashion trends, attending industry events, watching live shows. So I mean, we're either watching live shows in person or online because all of these like big fashion houses, they actually broadcast their shows online as well. So and it's live. So I mean, I can't. There's literally no excuse. So, um, yeah. So on top of that, experimenting with new techniques as well as, and I have always loved this from the beginning, but testing and pushing myself to draw within a certain time frame. So, it's quite easy to measure if you're using a digital drawing app such as Procreate. But if you're using Procreate, you can just click on the more information button, and you can see how many strokes and how many minutes or hours you have spent on this piece. And I kind of like looking at that occasionally, not all the time, but just to challenge myself because I know in my industry it is about speed. And yeah, I think I need to constantly remind myself of that skill. Yeah. So I guess other but like tech related uh, things, I suppose I'm also exploring new tech in digital illustrations as well as animating some illustrations, using AI to help me in that aspect. Uh, I'm very interested in augmented reality as well, but it's definitely like a new area that yeah, it's gonna take. I need a bit.
How do you define success?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I'm gonna be real and say success to me definitely is about financial growth. But that's not the only thing. Like I'm gonna yeah, it's not the only thing. Financial growth is very important, but also building a lasting relationship with these clients is probably next on the list, and creating memorable experiences for guests is important to me as well. So I think, ensuring the longevity of your business, of your brand, of your service, yeah, having that lasting relationship with clients is just so critical. I can tell you that I've worked with brand managers that have gone from fragrance to hotel industry, and they remember me. Like they carry my contact over from there to there, and who knows where their next step is going to be. And you know they're on their way up as well. They're probably going to become a higher exec someday in whichever position or a different industry. Who knows, like luxury car industry one day. But yeah, it's things like that I find those relationships are just so priceless to have.
To finish things up, I asked Kai what her overall goal and aim is for Soy Street and what she'd want her legacy to be.
I guess that I want Soy Street to be known for blending art with meaningful experiences. My goal is also to inspire other artists to explore many unconventional ways of connecting their work with audiences and leave behind, my goal is to leave behind a brand that's synonymous with creativity and luxury. Um, one of my, I can tell you like a little dream of mine. Um, one of my dreams that I often think about because everything I do, I hope will bring me to that point. My dream is to one day be actually, you know, a featured artist on a design piece. For example, not just me painting on the piece, but actually a piece that goes into production. So an example would be, yeah, an example would be, brands like Louis Vuitton, they often do artist collaborations. They will have an artist design a piece on their luxury handbag. That design is reproduced. It's part of a collection. It goes down in the history books. They have Louis Vuitton history collection, you know, coffee table books that will showcase their collection. And yeah, I think that's definitely a dream of mine.
Kai's story is fantastic inspiration for anyone looking to make a career change, and I particularly liked hearing the amount of preparation she did and how important it is to lean on your existing passions and pre-existing knowledge and use that as an advantage. This was only half our full conversation. If you'd like to hear a lot more from Kai and her whole story, head over to milestones.so. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
I'm working on expanding into new markets and launching a series of digital products, working with these luxury hotel chains for these interactive workshops and experiences.